step into a world where being neurodivergent is celebrated and the conversations are as real as they are eye-opening. Welcome to Femme on the Spectrum, where autism, ADHD, and life's biggest issues collide in the most empowering way. Hey everyone, I'm Elizabeth, and today we're getting real about a topic that hits home for so many of us: naivety and manipulation. If you're like me, you might have had some gut punch moments when you realized, oh wow, I've been manipulated again. This episode is for all of us who've trusted too much, too fast, and often without question. We'll be diving into why we're so susceptible to manipulation, sharing some real-life anecdotes, and exploring practical ways to protect ourselves. So, buckle up and get ready for an eye-opening conversation. All right, let's jump into it. Here's the thing. If you're like me, trusting people comes naturally, maybe a little too naturally. We tend to jump in with both feet, trusting too much and too fast. And why wouldn't we? When your heart is open and you believe the best in people, it seems only logical to assume everyone is as transparent and genuine as you are, right? Well, spoiler alert, not everyone operates that way. The harsh reality is that people often see our transparency as an opportunity to manipulate. I know it's a tough pill to swallow, but it's the truth. People see our open, trusting nature and think, here's someone I can play. And play us, they do. Now, if you think I'm exaggerating, let's talk numbers. Studies from 2018 in research in autism spectrum disorders found that 42% of autistic adults reported being victims of interpersonal exploitation. That's almost half of us. So if you've ever felt like you're getting played, you're definitely not alone. It's a widespread issue within our community. But remember, it's not because we're weak or foolish. It's because our brains are wired differently. We don't expect deception because it doesn't make sense to us. This doesn't mean we're destined to be taken advantage of. It just means we have to be a little more cautious and mindful of these tendencies. Okay, let's get personal here. Take friendships, for example. There was a time when I believed I had these amazing ride or die friends. You know, the kind who'd bail you out of jail or help you find your phone after you've lost it for the 27th time that week. In my mind, these were the friendships that would withstand any storm. But looking back, I realized some of these so-called friends weren't really there for me. They were more like spectators sitting on the sidelines with popcorn watching the Elizabeth show. And oh, the quirky sidekick role. I played that part well, or so they thought. Some of these friends treated me like I was just there to add some flavor to their lives, like a little sprinkle of quirky to make them seem more interesting. They'd go, oh, this is Elizabeth. Isn't she hilarious? When really they were just using me to spice up their social scene. Then came the ones who treated me like an experiment. These were the people who approached me as if they were scientists and I was the lab rat. What makes Elizabeth tick? They'd wonder aloud, prodding my personality, trying to dissect my behaviors. All the while, I thought they were genuinely interested in who I was. Spoiler, they weren't. And the worst? The friends who treated me like a pet. Seriously, like an adorable accessory to have around. They'd keep me close because I added to their aesthetic, made them look kinder and more tolerant by association. It took me a long time to see this, but when I did, ouch, it was a gut punch. The emotional toll of realizing all this can't be overstated. It's not just sad, it's downright embarrassing. You sit there replaying scenes in your head thinking, how did I not see this? But let me tell you, coming to terms with it is powerful. It's a step toward understanding that your kindness isn't a flaw. It's something incredible that just needs some boundaries for protection. All right, now that we've covered some of the pitfalls in friendships, let's shift gears to a more sensitive topic: relationships and abuse. Buckle up, because this is a heavy but essential conversation. Did you know that autistic women are 3 times more likely to experience emotional or psychological abuse in relationships? Yeah, according to a 2021 study published in Autism in Adulthood, it's an alarming and heartbreaking statistic that many of us can unfortunately relate to. One of the reasons for this is that some people in the dating world aren't attracted to us for who we are, they're attracted to what they can get from us. This might involve control, validation, or just the satisfaction of having someone they can easily manipulate. It's a harsh reality, but it's one we need to talk about. You see, one of the trickiest aspects of being autistic is our lack of a manipulator radar. Our brains are wired to be honest and straightforward, which means we might not pick up on the subtle cues and red flags that indicate someone's bad intentions. This makes us easy targets for people who know how to exploit these traits. And let's be real, our natural honesty and lack of guile, while they are beautiful qualities, in the wrong hands, they're seen as moldable traits. Manipulators love that we're straightforward and sincere because it makes their job easier. They see us as someone who won't challenge their motives or actions. But let's take a deep breath here. Understanding these challenges is the first step to overcoming them. By recognizing our vulnerabilities, we can take steps to protect ourselves and make smarter choices about who we let into our lives. Here's where the emotional toll really hits us. The embarrassment over being manipulated can be overwhelming. You find yourself thinking, how did I not see this coming? It's more than just sadness. It's that facepalm moment where you feel like you've been played for a fool. But let me tell you, it's not your fault. Our openness, our honesty, that's part of being neurodivergent. And it's not a flaw, it's a feature. Yes, that's right, a feature. Sure, it makes us a bit more vulnerable, but it's also what makes us genuinely compassionate, trustworthy, and full of heart. Now, here's the silver lining. Every time we're manipulated, we learn something new. It's like gaining a new piece of armor. We start to spot those red flags we previously ignored. Maybe someone is being overly complimentary or their motives just seem a bit off. The point is, we grow and we become better equipped to handle it next time. And folks, trust your gut instincts. It's taken me years to get here, but listening to that little inner voice can save you a lot of heartache. If something feels off, even if you can't put your finger on it, trust that feeling. Often our intuition picks up on things our conscious mind isn't yet aware of. Lastly, let's talk about setting boundaries. Boundaries are like a garden fence, not designed to keep everyone out, but to protect what you hold dear. They help you decide who gets the privilege of stepping into your world and who needs to stay outside the gate. Setting boundaries isn't rude, it's necessary for your mental and emotional well being. All right, my friends, let's bring this all home with some solid takeaways and community support tips because knowing is half the battle, right? First up, let's talk about boundaries. Boundaries are crucial, like those little fences you put around a garden. They're not there to keep everyone out, they're there to keep the pests out. Setting boundaries can help you protect your emotional and mental well being. It's not about shutting people out, but about deciding who earns the right to be in your inner circle. Next, educate yourself. The more you understand about manipulation tactics, the better you'll be at spotting them early on. Read books, listen to podcasts, watch videos, whatever it takes to arm yourself with knowledge. Knowledge is power, and the more you know, the less likely you are to be taken advantage of. Now let's get a little cheesy but super real. Lean on your community. Whether it's a trusted friend, a supportive therapist, or a community group, having people who get you can make a world of difference. You don't have to go through this alone. Sharing your experiences and hearing others' stories can be incredibly validating. Here's a big one. Understand that your naivety isn't a flaw, it's a feature. It's part of what makes you, you. Your open heart and trusting nature are beautiful traits. They may make you vulnerable, yes, but they also make you incredibly valuable. You're someone people can rely on, someone who brings genuine kindness into the world. That's nothing to be ashamed of. And finally, remember this empowering message: we're not naive, we're learning. Each experience, good or bad, teaches us something valuable. Every time you feel like you've been played, you're actually gaining wisdom. You're learning to navigate the world more cautiously, but also more wisely. And that, my friends, is a powerful thing. So set those boundaries, educate yourself, lean on your community, and embrace who you are. Remember, you're not naive. You're learning, and learning is one of the most empowering things you can do. Hope this resonated with you all. Now let's get ready to wrap this up in our outro. Thanks for joining me on this emotional roller coaster. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend, or better yet, share it with someone who's ever underestimated you. Because, honey, we're not naive, we're learning, and learning is powerful. Until next time, keep being kind, keep being curious, and most importantly, keep being you. Check the show notes for any links or articles mentioned in today's episode.